this is a really beautiful process, a really beautiful kind of hack that you can use in a sense, for yourself when it comes to it is a wet spot. When it comes to breaking certain cycles, when it comes to really planting seeds and being intentional about your manifestation process. And that is 45 days. So I'm not quite sure how this wants to be structured or where it wants to be led. So I'm going to take a deep breath and we are just going to get started. So yes, thank you again for being here with me today. And Spirit wants to keep this kind of like short and sweet and really digestible in a way for everyone here listening and receiving either live or in the replay to take away, because this is really such a potent process, 45-day process to use for yourself and your own experience in whatever way, shape, or form you want to use it, whatever cycles you want to use it to break, whatever manifestations you desire to bring through. This 45-day process, I probably started my first kind of like intentional cycle of this middle of November 2020. Me and my partner were just moving through a lot of shifts and a lot of things, and I have to give credit to Kevin, he was actually the one that brought all of this up for us as we were moving through a lot of shifts. He is a manifester in human design. He is my Sagittarius to my Gemini. He is an Aries rising, a Pisces moon, super intuitive. And so a huge channel is what I'm trying to say. And what he channeled through one day is like, okay, 45 days. What if we just gave ourselves 45 days to just stick to one thing, to try to shift one thing? And at the time we were going through a lot of like money struggles. We weren't able to pay rent on time, car payments multiple behind, struggling to pay bills, just like all of the things. We were delivering Uber Eats and food, and it was just like borrowing, it was money, just like all of the things. And we felt like we were in such a hole. So instead of spiraling deeper into the hole, we chose, okay, we're going to focus for the next 45 days. How can we positively shift one day at a time out of this hole we're in, out of this place we feel like we're at rock bottom? And so for 45 days, we got intentional. On day one, we talked about this, and I invite you over, if you choose to use this, track it in a journal, write down your process. Every morning we would come together and have coffee and talk about our day, talk about what day we were on, and I would have my journal and I would write it, 1 of 45, 2 of 45, like all the way through 45, right? So I do want to say that in the beginning here. But what we did on day one was we got intentional. We're like, okay, no more bullshit. We are not going to spin in our excuses, one day at a time. In the money aspect, we're going to call the bill companies we need to call. We're going to make the calls we've been avoiding. We don't have to do them all in one day, but we are going to show up one day, one call, one action at a time. Hello, Starlight. And so with that being said, showing up and having the intentions, and I'm only talking around money, but you could work a lot of different cycles or mindsets that you want to shift in this 45 days. So money, you could work with body image, you could work with relationship with yourself, communication with yourself, you could work on a certain ritual you want to show up to, which I'll get to in a little bit. But whatever you choose to show up to for 45 days, just think about what would happen if you chose for 45 days to show up to something to change it. And that one thing was a huge life shift at the end of 45 days. Like, feel into that. Who cares about all of the other moving parts in life, right? Because in the midst of 1 year, 365 days, how many 45-day cycles do you have? You have so many to work through, right? So just imagine at the first point, like how much will shift and change. And like, whew, I'm getting into like, yes, the passion of it, because really this is what this 45-day process taught me, is how much your life can change if you are just focused and intentional with your process. Using the number 45, Kevin, my man's, was like, okay, a calendar month is 30, 31 days, right? Add 15 more days on top of that. And again, we've always communicated, we've always been really self-aware, but realizing like, whoa, like, okay, so 30 days, but really 15 days after the 30, that's when shit starts to like sink in. That's when shit starts to like really shift. And we noticed that in a few different areas, just reflecting on our journey together, like the past few years. So again, we're like, okay, we're going to try it. We're going to do it. So every day, just tracking, and especially tracking my energy and my awareness, like noticing like, okay, the first 7 days in this 45-day cycle, I was really excited and really tuned in and really showing up to all of these rituals and devoted and feeling it. And then after the 7 days, for the next 14 days, right, in the first 2 weeks of the cycle, feeling really lit up and feeling the changes and seeing the shifts and really receiving abundance. But then noticing how like day 14 to day like 21 the next week, how like starting to lose a little motivation, starting to, like not feel so inspired, starting to be like, bumping up against like roadblocks and stuff like that, which is okay because we have like how many, 22 more days, and bumping up against shit is part of the process. But being so intentional with tracking each day for 45, it blew my mind how like, and brought to my consciousness and awareness to the forefront of like, whoa, how many times have I cock blocked myself from my success because I haven't kept going. I've stopped at that first resistance. I've just stopped where I'm at. And it's like hitting hard, even like feeling it, but even noticing. So like 14 to 21, then you go 21 to 28, right? Those days, and like, whoa, you start to like notice and you refine your process a little because you notice the resistances, but then you come back to like, okay, 45 days, we got this. It's okay to bump up against it. Let's refine the stuff. And with that being said, when I hit that state of like, okay, in the moment, like in the process, accepting that shit's not working out, it's okay. And being able to split the switch that quickly, that too was another huge hack in this like manifestation process, in the sense, because like how often do we just like sit and like fucking dwell on what isn't going on and what we don't have, when like, again, things aren't going our way, when our human is like, well, the external isn't matching with the internal, right? Like, but with this being said, it takes time. This is something I learned so deeply in these 45 days. It takes time, and it takes everyone individually unique amounts of time in their own process, right, to break these cycles, to come up against these things. But increasing your awareness in that 45 days, again, you will release, you will receive much quicker than not being intentional, and kind of got wrapped around there. But I do want to come back to like day 28 to 45, let's say, and more like in those last days, and even 28 to day 40, like let's stick there, right? 28 to 35, like in those weeks, you're feeling so much momentum, and really your external experience does start to shift. Every single day, building on your confidence, checking in with yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, like intentionally each day, focusing on these areas, bringing more light, awareness, energy, radiance. And in these 45 days, when we do that, when we choose to elevate, our shadows will come out. Those things that we hide, that we usually stop, and like that resistance aspect, right, where we usually stop and like restart the pattern, go back to day one versus like, okay, we're going to pause. We're going to hold space, get curious for this, whatever this is coming up, whatever belief is coming up, whatever emotion is coming up, whatever physical resistance is coming up. Being able, again, in this 45-day process to work through those things in the moments that they come up in these 45 days, like, holy shit, how your life will change. And again, I'm getting super passionate because then if we go to day 35 to 45, it's almost like, okay, whoa, we've really shifted, and allowing yourself to celebrate, anchor in, and embody these shifts so that your body, your cells can integrate, process, receive all of, again, the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, energetic work that you've done for the 30 days before that. Like, just creating that space to really slow down a little more and really receive that yumminess at the end. It's like your cells are receiving, and externally that abundance starts to come. Whatever you did started to manifest on day one, like in your journal, write it down, write with day one on it. Look what's come to fruition. Look how your life has changed on day 45, or even in those last 5 to 10 days of your 45-day process. Like, this is a magical experience if you choose to move through it. And yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what more can I say than that, but really that's the juice of what these 45 day is, and 45 days are, and why 45 days is that number I keep talking about, and is so potent to be intentional about breaking certain cycles and manifesting what you want. And when you write it down first day, knowing that when you choose, that's the contract, you jump into it, and shit will come up to try to push you off that contract. But this is what your soul signed up for. Whatever comes through your heart, whatever you connect with to break through and to receive, like, you are ready for it. And so this is why, again, getting intentional with these 45 days is so yummy and so juicy and so transformational. And in our human sense, in the human mind essence, we are like so attached to timelines, which is why giving us 45 days is really important. The human's on board with it, right? Okay, it's not forever, but like we can do 45. And so the human gets so tripped up on how long change takes, when in reality, change happens so fucking quick, especially when your soul and your human are on board. Like, for fucking real. So again, 45 days like brings that awareness, brings that safety, that support in all realms. And when you get really intentional about it, like, and kind of, I said earlier in the beginning of this transmission of the 45 days, rituals that can support you along the way. Like, this is why I create Bridget Rose Apothecary ritual tools. Like, imagine for 45 days what would happen if you showed up each morning with a ritual to support you. 45 days drinking a warm glass of lemon water first thing before you woke up. 45 days in a row journaling your process, journaling your feelings, brain dumping everything on your mind, getting it out, letting your soul speak, letting your soul breathe a little. 45 days doing one creative thing that lights your soul on fire. 45 days using the Balance Body Serum and a gua sha treatment to drain your lymph, to drain the lymph nodes, to create this glow, to literally support your physical body while also, that self-care routine. 45 days of pulling tarot cards to strengthen your practice. 45 days of tracking your money, loving money, getting intentional with money. 45 days of loving yourself, of accepting yourself, of focusing on yourself. Imagine how your experience would shift. It is so potent. it is so transformational. 45 days of putting your health first. Like, right? And I'm gonna get real right now. Like, when's the last time for myself, for you listening, 45 days we went without a escape, alcohol, weed, binge watching, binge reading, binge something to get out of our minds? When's the last day we went 45 days without one of those things? And allowed our body to get rid of that thing keeping us in our way from that expansion on the other side. Fuck. This 45-day process brings so much to the surface, which is why, again, we stop usually at a certain point, which I found is like day 15 to 21-ish. We're like, oh, fuck, here's the resistance, here's this, here's that, here's why I stopped before, so I'm not going to do it again. You know, like, that shit comes up. But if you want to change your life, you must be responsible to do so and be patient and stick it out. Stick out the process, stick it out for you. And I invite you to use that 45-day structure to really break those cycles in whatever area of your life it is, and to grow and learn about yourself. And maybe that's your first 45 days. But me and my mans, we were just talking about this, like that first 45 days, and now we've probably lived out like 45-day processes beyond that. I still track my shit, but knowing that first 45 days was a catalyst for this expansion and this growth and this area that we are in right now. And like, don't get me wrong, we are in the midst of our own retrograde and eclipse over here. We are bumping up against like a bunch of like past things and bumping up against of like just like experiences, but we know to be patient and shit will come up and it's okay. And having that awareness of the cosmos is even like such a deeper yumminess to have, because I am aware, okay, it's retrograde right now, especially speaking on this 45-day process, and why it's so yummy to use right now during these retrograde periods is because retrogrades are all about introspection and breaking cycles, not to get wrapped up in the external bullshit, you know, like the things like, oh my God, Mercury retrograde, like, yes, it stirs up a lot of chaos, but not to get wrapped up in it, so we can come pull our energy in, internalize and refine what doesn't feel good. Right now we are in the midst also of Saturn in Aquarius retrograde. Saturn is all about responsibilities in this lifetime. Things that we show up to that we, like, our human is like, ugh, like, I don't want to do it. But like our soul and human also know, like, but if we do this is going to bring us massive expansion. And that is like the choice of breaking these cycles. So using this 45-day process in this retrograde cycle, and I'm saying from now till August, watch what happens. Watch how your life shifts. If you would like even more support with this, like I just realized this probably the end of last week without even knowing it, but I shifted Reset and Renew. It was a 3-day retreat, but now it's a 6-week experience. And what is 6 weeks is like 42 days, 45 days I'm calling it, because I will add 3 days to complete the process with you. But like, if you are feeling this, if you're like, fuck yeah, if you want more support, Reset and Renew, this is what we'll be working together. We will be working a 45-day process. We will be bringing these cycles we want to break to light. We will be doing the work, and I will be there right by your side, holding space for you, channeling and sharing both, you know, the cosmic energies and all of those astro intuitive insights to support you along your journey, and holding that safe space for your human, being intentional with you about these 45 days and these mental, emotional, physical cycles that we want to break, these things we want to manifest. You will walk away after 45 days, whether it's in Reset and Renew with me, with all of the beautiful women signing up, or whether it's out of that container, taking this walk by yourself, this journey by yourself. Your life will shift, your life will transform. And I can speak from like fucking experience. So yeah, like, whoa, I just dropped in and I went there, but that felt really yummy to share and I will be sharing a lot more about this 45 days. Like, I feel like this is a kind of for this next cycle I'm stepping into, like, I got to talk about this because more people need to know about it. It is a powerful shift when you can focus your heart, your mind, your body, your intention on what you desire, and using again that structure, that window of just 45 days. And if you go 4 + 5 = 9, ending of a cycle, and then the next step is a new beginning, which is what 45 is all about. God, and we can get even deeper into this. My man brought up today, like, to real lasting embodied change, because I've talked about, like, many times before, the 9-month birth process. My gosh, I'm glad this came up. But he was saying to create lasting change, it's going to take like 450 days. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty true. That's like, I mean, how many more days off of a year? I don't know. But like, that's another 40 days, let's say, off of a year. So yeah, 450 days from like, and I like to use spring equinox because that's like a really like powerful manifestation time. So if you can look back to like last April, even like right now, last June, what you planted then and what has come into fruition now, look at the type of life you are living. Look what has changed. Look how you have grown. Even if you feel like you're in the middle of shit right now, like, look at how powerful this process is. And look at just in a year where your life has shifted. I'm sure you're living a lot of your manifestations, like fully living them. Yes, we still want to get other places. Yes, we want to keep going. But like right now, I bet you are really in like where you want it to be. And that's like 450 days, right? And with that being said, going to 9 months and just like what in 1 year we can do, and bringing this like understanding back to a woman giving birth to a human baby. It takes 9 full months for the baby to grow inside of the womb. So sacral, energy is womb space, man, woman, non-binary, anything that you resonate with. What I'm trying to say, it is not gender specific. Our creativity, our passions, like that baby that we birth is our sacral energy. And so being able for 9 full months to stick with a creation that we are passionate about, stick with this creation of creating this life that we desire, which is breaking cycles, which is manifesting the shit we need along the way, which in turn creates this like foundation, this like journey of just like massive more stability as you just grow your 45-day cycle on top of your 45-day cycle on top of your 45-day cycle. How many of those add up to 9 months? I don't fucking know. But again, like, y'all get my flow, y'all get what I'm putting down. This is so important. So with that being said, I feel like that is where I wanted to go. That is where I wanted to end.